Hey there, everybody. Don Evans here from WatchReport.com, and today on the wrist is the new Hexa Osprey. It is a 42 millimeter case and is currently selling for $699 from the Hexa website. Wanted to start off by showing it to you on my 7.5-inch wrist. Give you a good look at it. But let me take it off and show it to you in more detail. Talk about the newest dive watch from Hexa. Now, let me run over the rest of the specs first. As I said, you have a 42 millimeter case. It is about 13.5 millimeters thick with a very, very, very slightly domed sapphire crystal. You have a lug to lug of 50 millimeters, and your lug width is 22 millimeters with a non-tapering 22 millimeter bracelet. And it also has the ratchet extension dive clasp. Back there you have an exhibition case back that shows you the 9015 automatic movement and the Hexa logo there on the rotor. You have your signed crown with that Hexa star logo. Also see that logo here on the blue dial. This is the blue Sunray dial. Miyota 9015 automatic movement, if I haven't already said so. And this is a matte ceramic loomed bezel insert. You have applied markers. Now, this also comes in a black Sunray dial. I chose the blue for review simply because when you take a look at it here under the different scopes of the light, sometimes it's a deeper blue, a darker blue, and I am just a sucker for blue dials. You can see that your second hand there is a hexagon as well. It has the loomed area and then the red tip. Your date is located at the 6 o'clock position. Pretty clean dial too. They didn't overbrand it. As a matter of fact, it doesn't even say the model name here on the dial. You just get automatic and the water resistance, which if you can't read that is 300 meters. Now, what you have here, and I'm going to talk about it, and I'm only going to talk about it a little bit because as far as I'm concerned, it really does not pertain to this watch in general, but I feel that I shouldn't gloss over it. And what that is this, the basis of this watch comes from the Hexa F74. Now, if many of you are not familiar with Hexa timepieces, they started out with their K500 model. That was their first model. Many of you might have seen it. If you haven't, take a look at it. It is on their website. This is technically only their second model in the past few years. They did a couple of different variations of the K500. And the other watch that they did, which was for forum members of the Watch You Seek forum, it was called the F74. Now, the members voted on that and different designs and options from Hexa. They came up with a watch that had a very similar dial, but instead of the blue or the black, it was like a gray Sunray dial. It did not have the exhibition case back. It had a drawing that a member had submitted. But now I am told that, right from the start, that they were told that this was going to be the basis for a line of dive watches for regular production from Hexa. Hence, here you have the Osprey. So a couple of differences are the exhibition case back. The writing on the dial is different. The colors are different, and they do not offer the color that they did for that limited edition. And this watch is hand assembled in the USA. So those are the differences. The current price is $699. Full price on their website is $925. I apologize for the clock going off in the background. Now, I'm not exactly sure how long the sale is going to last. When you watch this video, the price is still at $699. At $699, it is very comparable to everything else out there in the market. Now, of course, yes, there are brands these days we're going to be able to get a watch with the 90-15 movement for cheaper. There's no doubt about it. We've reviewed many of them here on Watch Report. There's a few watches we reviewed here on Watch Report that I've personally reviewed that have a 90-15 that are more expensive than this watch. They're actually even more expensive than this watch at the full price. So what I'm going to do here is just try and show off the watch to you as best as possible, as we usually try and do. And of course, it is up to you to make the decision if the watch is worth it to you or not. You have your nice gear patterned bezel. Very nice solid bracelet. Does use screws to attach the links together. The only problem that I have with it is it's double-sided screws as opposed to the one-sided screws that many companies are now using. As I've always said, if you're going to be sizing this, have a little bit of patience and don't do it over a carpet. I took out 3 links to fit my 7.5-inch wrist. And of course, you always have the clasp here with the ratcheting dive extension that you can use to adjust it. Of course, this will also be used if you're actually diving to put over the wetsuit. There's a good look at the whole clasp itself. The bezel is extremely firm, but easy to grasp, easy to turn. And as you can see, there's like no play in this bezel at all until I click it. I am forcing myself. You can see the pressure on my fingers. So there's no play in this bezel. It turns great. So if you are actually going to use this to time or to dive, great bezel for that purpose. It is a screw down crown, of course. I'll unscrew that here. Okay. Now, as I spoke about earlier, it is a matte ceramic bezel. Now, most of the time we see a ceramic bezel, it is high gloss or polished. Oris is a company that I know that does matte ceramic, and I know there's a few other micro brands out there that are doing them as well. Now, I personally like the look better than your high polish. That is just my personal opinion, and I think it goes along well. This entire watch is brushed, has that tool diver look about it. So there's no high polished areas here. So I think the matte ceramic complements it well. On my particular example, I was able to scratch it. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see it here in my, in the video here. But if you look between the 35 and the 40, you could see a slight scratch there on it. But you know what? Nothing is scratch proof. I actually think you could see it better right there. Right between, we would probably call it like the 37 area is where the scratch is. Things scratch. Nothing is scratch proof. Sapphire is not scratch proof. Ceramic is not scratch proof. Who knows what I banged it against? I could have banged it against a brick or something that was very hard and didn't realize it. Nonetheless, now you have an H link for your end link. Kind of like the look, and of course it's an H, and the brand name is Hexa, so kind of neat. The only thing I want to mention, when you take a look at them, they do jet out a little bit from the lug ends. It would have been nice if they had beveled those to match the lug ends as best as possible. It is a nice bracelet. The bracelet is more of a catalog or off-the-shelf bracelet. I've seen this before. Nothing wrong with it though. Like I said, it's thick, it's sturdy. This entire watch, with all the links, weighs about 215 grams. So it does have some heft to it. But overall, if you like a dive watch, if you like a ceramic bezel, Miyota 9015 automatic movement, sapphire crystal, solid link bracelet, ratchet diver extension. It has all the bells and whistles that a lot of the watches, especially the micro brand dive watches have that we look for. It has a beautiful sunray dial, applied markers, Not much more you can ask for, and to me, it's a very, the one thing, it's a little strange. It feels like a 44 millimeter watch. Now, I've measured it. It's 42 millimeters, it's 13.5 millimeters thick. I think due to the case design, it's kind of that angular, blocky case design, it wears a little bit bigger. I honestly thought when I first put it on, it was 44 millimeters. So the reason I mention that is if you're somebody that likes a bigger watch, I think you might want to try this one out as far as the size is. I don't think you'll be disappointed with the 42 millimeters. Check out the full review at watchreport.com. You'll see all the photos, loom shots, and I go into much more detail about the watch. Leave a like or a comment here on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't. You'll never miss another video review. Follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram. I've said this before at the end of the videos. You're going to want to check out our social media. We do contests. We show sneak peeks of watches that we have coming in for review. Many more things. So you're going to want to follow us there. Keep up to date on everything that watchreport.com has going on. This has been Don Evans for watchreport.com, giving you a look at the brand new Hexa Osprey dive watch. We will see you on the next video. Thank you very much.